Come now, my friend. Step inside. There's room enough beneath this old roof, and the wind won't find you here. I built it simple, just enough to keep the worst of the rain off our backs. But tonight, I'd say it's doing its work well enough. The fire's holding, the roof's dry, and you've arrived. That's more than enough comfort for one evening. You're soaked through, aren't you? No shame in it. The storm rolled in sudden like they often do when the sky has something old to remember. Sit here, close to the warmth. The logs are still hissing, full of rain from this morning's mist, but they'll settle. Take off what weight you can. No armor needed in this place. Only rest, only breath. There, that's better, isn't it? You can feel it already, how the warmth creeps up through your boots, through your bones, the sort of heat that doesn't blaze, doesn't shout, just waits and welcomes. That's the kind of fire I like best. Listen to the rain for a moment, will you? How it dances on the roof, steady and unhurried, not in a rush to be anything other than what it is, just water falling, just night deepening. I find it helps quiet the thoughts that sound, as if each drop brushes something clean in the mind. The smell here, do you notice it? That old forest scent, full of pine and damp bark and a little moss, softened by the smoke from the fire, like the inside of a hollow tree that's lived through 10 kings and never once asked for notice. I've always loved that scent. It reminds me that the world doesn't need watching to keep spinning. The rain's been good for the earth, even if it chased you in. I watched it fall earlier while I laid kindling in the pit. It came down slow at first, like it was asking permission. Then, all at once, the wind pulled it down in sheets, and the woods hushed. Not afraid, just listening. Even the crows stopped calling, just for a time. This lean-to, well, it's nothing grand. Just timber I cut from the old grove, stacked and notched the way a shepherd once showed me. He called it honest shelter, said it wouldn't win praise, but it'd keep you dry and teach you patience. He was right. It's not much to look at, but I've slept beneath this roof more nights than I can count, and not once have I woken with regrets. The barrel's there. I've sealed them well. One holds dry root for tea, the other old cloth and flint. And this bench, I carved it myself, when the days were long and I still thought solitude meant silence. You'd be surprised how much company there is in shaping wood with your hands. The grain has a memory. It teaches you to listen. And you, my dear companion, I'm glad you found your way here tonight. Not just because of the storm. No, because it's good now and then to be reminded that we're not the only ones looking for shelter. You belong here, beside the flame, beside me. You don't need to explain anything. Not your journey, not your mood. Just let yourself be. You've arrived, and that's enough. To hear the fire going a while longer. We've plenty of wood and the storm has more to say. Let it speak. Let it sing. You don't have to answer. Just breathe with it. There's something ancient about this kind of night. The kind where the castle keeps to its shadows, the stars stay hidden, and all that matters is what little light we carry. This fire, this moment, this peace. So rest now, friend of mine. Truly rest. Let the rain tap its lullaby. Let the smoke curl gentle around your shoulders. You're safe, you're dry, and you are welcome, always here by the fire. Look out there, my friend. Past the edge of the firelight, the world wears its raincoat tonight, wrapped in layers of shadow and silver mist. The trees are swaying ever so gently, not from fear, no, just from the natural rhythm of a night grown soft and full. I've come to find peace in such weather. It's not the kind of storm that demands anything. just one that asks you to slow down, to breathe, to listen. Do you hear it? That hush between the raindrops. It's like the forest has exhaled, and the whole hillside is resting. Even the castle, see it there, silhouetted against the dark bruise of clouds. It's still for once, no torches in the windows, no banners stirring, just the towers, outlined by lightning that keeps its distance, more mood than menace. That place holds stories, you know, but they're quiet tonight, and I won't trouble you with them. Not here, not now. Closer by, the puddles shimmer like stars scattered across the earth's own mirror. You'd think they were trying to speak, the way they catch the light and let it go again. That little flicker, like a lantern left out for someone who might still find their way home. And the scent of it all, wet wood, leaf mold, the green musk of bark soaked through. Even the soil has opened its breath. I've always believed the ground holds memory in its own way, not in words like we do, but in feeling. The forest especially. It remembers who walked it, who sat and wept beneath its branches, who buried tokens of love and grief beneath its roots. Tonight, it remembers rain. There's something about how the light bends in weather like this. The fire here, see how it flickers against the inside of the shelter, turning these rough-hewn beams to amber. Even my armor, dull though it is, picks up a little warmth from it. That's all I need. I've no taste for shining things anymore. Not really, but a glow like this, quiet, steady, offered, it's more precious than gold. I've always loved how the world slows itself when it rains. The animals find hollows or undergrowth to wait it out. The birds tuck their heads beneath their wings. Even the wind seems to soften, threading its way gently through branches, as though it doesn't want to wake them. And here, under this roof, with a friend beside me, well, it feels as though time itself has curled up by the hearth and decided to sleep in. You might not see it just now, but just beyond that thicket, there's a little stream. It sings differently on nights like these. The stones make it stammer, almost a kind of gentle babble, like it's dreaming of where it came from. I once followed it for an entire season, back when I thought I needed answers to questions I barely knew how to ask. And though I never reached the spring, I learned something finer, how to be content with the sound of water moving. The forest floor is soft this time of year. Soaked moss, softened pine needles, and the occasional bloom of mushrooms that catch droplets like little cups. I once saw a whole ring of them around a birch just beyond here, glowing faintly under moonlight, as if nature had crowned the tree. Moments like that, they're not loud. They don't try to impress. They just happen. And you either notice or you don't. I've made it a habit to notice. Do you smell the sap? The rain pulls it from the trees, blesses it into the air, sweet and sharp at once. The kind of scent that reaches somewhere deep in the chest and stays there a while. I think that's why I sleep best on nights like this. The scent of wet wood, the gentle hush all around, the reassurance that the world is still turning, slowly, kindly. And the castle, well, it used to feel distant, even when I stood within its halls. But now, from here, with the fire before me and the rain behind it, it looks more like a memory than a place. I don't mind that. Some places are best kept in the distance, not out of bitterness, but because they shine brighter in reflection. It's not what's behind the walls that calls to me anymore. It's the way the sky curves around the tallest tower, like even the clouds remember the shape of old dreams. The trees know things, I'm certain of it. Even when the leaves have gone and the branches are bare, They still reach, still sway, still listen. There's an old beech, not far from here. I visit it sometimes. I lean against its trunk and say nothing at all. And it offers me its silence in return. It's a good trade. And here we are now, my friend. Under shelter, under sky. The rain still falls. The fire still burns. And between us this hush, this gentleness that needs no name. You've noticed, I think, that even your thoughts are slower now, that your shoulders have eased. Your breath deepened. That's good. That's what this place is meant for. Not grand revelations or noble quests, just being together. If you close your eyes, you might even see what I mean. The world out there, all that rain and wind and shifting shadow, it's not separate from us. It's part of the same quiet. It's the lullaby the night sings to those who still believe in soft places. And we do, don't we? You and I, we believe. Or if we've forgotten how, at least tonight we remember. So let it rain. Let it pour. Let it wash the dust from your spirit. And leave only the stillness behind. We've nowhere else to be. No one else to prove anything to. Here, in this moment, we are held. You're safe, dear friend. You're warm. And the world beyond this little light may spin, may storm, may roar, but in here, it only whispers, sleep if you wish. I'll watch the forest a while longer. Not to guard it, just to marvel at it, just to be part of it, in this rain-bathed hour of peace. You know, once I stood behind those very walls, the ones you see across the hill. That castle, quiet now, outlined only by the storm's pale breath, once echoed with my footsteps. I was younger then, straighter in the back, sharper in the eye, but even so I think I understood little of what I carried. I was steward there, not of land or coin, but of duty, one of the many who bore a name on their shoulder and weight in their silence. I wore my armor like a second skin, polished bright each morning, and every word I spoke was measured like grain at harvest. There was a kind of honor in it, or so I believed. But honor, I've come to learn, isn't always found in ceremony or service. Sometimes it waits in the quieter places, like this one, like tonight. Now, I keep to simpler vows. Nothing grand, nothing carved in stone, just this, to keep the fire lit, to offer warmth when I can, and to remember gently. That's enough for me. You see, when the banners fall and the halls grow still, what's left are the small things, the ones that ask nothing but your presence, a shared seat, a kind word, the patience to sit with silence and not try to shape it. This old armor I wear, it's more habit than shield these days. The edges are worn dull, and I've let the shine fade, but it comforts me, in a way, like the scent of old books, or the creak of a wooden floor you know by heart. I don't wear it for battle. I wear it because it reminds me of who I've been, and the long walk it took to become who I am now. Not a knight of deeds, but a keeper of quiet things. And you, my friend, you are welcome in this stillness. Truly, this shelter isn't grand, I know. But it is honest. Every beam was laid with care, every stone at the hearth placed with thought. I made it for nights like this, not to hide from storms, but to meet them softly, and to offer space beside the fire to any soul who needed to feel less alone. Some folks speak quickly, fill the air with tales and titles. I don't mind that, but I've found, the longer I've lived, the more I've grown fond of slow speech, of long pauses, of voices that don't press. That's how the forest speaks, after all. in sighs through the leaves, in the rustle of ferns, in the quiet drip of rain along bark. You learn, after a time, that silence isn't emptiness, it's invitation. I suppose I've become like this shelter myself. Plain, weather-worn, and gently open. I don't ask much of the world anymore. I don't need to. There is peace in letting go of the need to be seen as anything more than what you are. And what I am now is simply this: a man at rest, a man who tends a fire, listens to the rain, and makes room beside him for the ones who still wander. Sometimes I think about the hallways of that castle, how they echoed with footfall and expectation. I served well. I did. But I don't miss the weight of it. There's something different about the weight of a warm blanket or a kettle bubbling softly over flame. Those things ask nothing of you, and give much. Like this moment here, with you, with the rain beyond, and the hush within. You may wonder what led me to this clearing, to this lean-to tucked between tree and stone, but it wasn't a single turning point, no grand exit, just a slow drift, like autumn leaves finally settling where the wind meant them to. And when I arrived, I realized something I never did in the keep, that I didn't have to chase a place in the world. I could make one, quietly, slowly, one log, one ember, one breath at a time. The eyes in my head are not as sharp as they once were, but the ones in my heart see more clearly now. They see you, for one. Not just your cloak or your tiredness, but the way you've carried yourself to this fire tonight. That means something, even if you don't know what it is yet. You stayed. You let yourself rest. That to me is bravery. And if I may say so, you remind me of myself. Long ago, not the polished steward in the hall, but the boy before him. The one who watched the stars through slats in the stable roof, and thought maybe, just maybe, there was a kind of magic in sitting still. I'm grateful to remember it now. So I offer you this, my company, such as it is, my silence when it's needed, my words when they're wanted, and my fire always. You don't have to speak unless you wish. You don't have to explain where you've been. All that matters truly is that you're here, beside me, in the warmth, in the quiet. The rain still falls, the trees still breathe, and I, old as I am, still find joy in this simplest of things, that another soul would sit beside mine, in peace for a little while longer. Stay as long as you like, dear heart. I'll keep the flame tended, and I'll be here, not waiting, but welcoming, should you ever wish to return. So tonight's task is no harder than this, to wait out the storm side by side. No swords to polish, no paths to follow, no expectations knocking at the door, just rain and firelight, and your breath beside mine. It's a kind of task I've come to treasure, you know, one that asks nothing more than presence. Strange, perhaps, how long it took me to learn that stillness could be a kind of strength. I wasn't always this way. No, there was a time I believed storms were meant to be faced alone, that shelter was something you earned by endurance, by grit, by grinding through, as if peace was a prize at the end of hardship, rather than something you could build with your own hands right from the start. Would you like to hear about that first shelter I made? It was a poor thing, really, barely more than a roof, leaned against a stone wall. But I remember it clearer than I recall most triumphs, because it was the first time I made something not to defend against the world, but to soften its weight. I was younger then, not quite a boy, not yet a man caught in that in-between space where you still try to prove yourself to every shadow that watches. I'd wandered far that season, training under a swordmaster whose name I can barely recall now. He taught me forms, tactics, the elegance of control, but little of rest. Rest, he said, was weakness in the field. So I believed it. I rode hard, slept light, and pushed through rain as if soaked skin were a badge of honor, until one night, deep in the green reaches of Eldon's Hollow, the sky cracked wide and spilled everything it held. It wasn't the kind of storm you press through. It was the kind that makes even the wolves lie down. Reluctantly, I stopped. My body demanded it long before my mind agreed. There was a boulder, half covered in ivy, shaped like the curve of a sleeping bear's back. And I thought, just for now, just until it passes. I broke some fallen limbs from nearby branches, still green, still heavy with rain, and made a lean-to against that stone, tied it with strips torn from my own cloak, laid pine needles on the earth beneath. It wasn't much, but when I sat down inside it, breath steaming in the cold, something shifted. It was quiet in there. The kind of quiet you don't notice at first because you're too busy bracing. But slowly, gently, the storm began to sound less like a threat and more like a lullaby. And I found to my surprise that I didn't miss the road. I didn't miss the grind. I only missed warmth. I don't know how long I sat in that little shelter. Long enough to forget I was waiting. Long enough to realize the storm outside wasn't something to defeat. It was something to listen to. It sang to the leaves, and the stone, and my bones. I slept that night. Truly slept, for the first time in weeks. And something else stayed with me. Not just the memory of rest, but the shape of it. The knowing that I could make such a place, no matter where I found myself, that I could build calm, not wait for it. A roof over the head, a light in the dark, a space to set down fear without apology. That was the beginning of the oath I carry now. Not an oath of conquest, but of care. Ed, when I came back from that journey, others in the keep noticed I was different. Not colder, but quieter, less eager to prove, more eager to share. I stopped trying to speak over the wind. I let others rest without guilt, and when I could, I built spaces, not always of wood and stone, but of time, of listening, of presence. That little shelter in Eldon's Hollow taught me something deeper than any knight's code ever did. That we are not meant to weather every storm alone. Some rains are meant to be shared, some silences too. And so now, here we are. Another shelter, a different rain. But the same truth holds. You and I sitting in a place that was made, not out of fear, but out of welcome. This fire, these walls, they aren't here to hold the world out, but to hold us in, just long enough to remember we are more than what we endure. Sometimes, I think, the heart builds its own shelters too, little places where we store the softest memories, the laughter we didn't expect, the hand held in silence, the smell of old soup on a winter night. We carry those with us, even when the wind howls loud, and if we're wise, we take them out now and then. We sit beside them, warm ourselves by their glow. You've done that, you know, simply by being here. You've brought your own quiet, your own warmth. I feel it. And in doing so, you've added to the peace of this place, not as a visitor, as part of it, as someone who belongs in the stillness. So we wait, together, not idly, but with intention. We listen to the rain as it smooths the forest. We watch the fire crackle its soft golden song. And we share this moment, a moment not earned through battle or hardship, but given freely, because we chose to pause. That is tonight's gentle quest, my friend, not to travel far, nor uncover some lost relic, but to remain, to feel the shelter, to understand that storms will come. And yet here we are, dry, warm, and unafraid. And if in time you build a shelter of your own, with wood or with presence, I hope you'll remember this one. This fire, this stillness, I hope you'll pass it along in your own way, because the world needs more places like this. More places where breath is slow and hearts unfold gently. More moments where no one has to be strong, only kind. We'll sit a while longer, shall we? No need to speak. The rain will do the talking for now, and in its rhythm. I hope you hear what I do, that peace is not something found beyond the storm, but within the shelter we choose to build against it, together. Lean back a while longer, my friend. The storm is in no hurry, and neither are we. The fire's still strong, the wind no louder than breath through pine, and the night feels generous. This is the hour for small stories, don't you think? The quiet kind, not the ones etched in marble or sung by minstrels, but those that settle softly in the heart, like ash on a cooling hearthstone. I find I remember such moments more clearly than the clamor of old battles, the smaller things, the gentle ones. There was a robin, once, years ago now, who made her nest in the crumbled watchtower behind the old western wall, a place long abandoned even then, with moss growing up between the stones and ivy threading through the cracks like green lace. Most of the men paid it no mind, but I'd taken to walking there in the mornings before my duties pulled me toward the main yard. One day, I heard her, not just chirping, no, a song, light, lilting, full of something I couldn't name. It stopped me in my tracks. There she was, bold as a banner, perched on the edge of that broken window, head tipped to the side as though watching me. I don't know why it struck me so deeply, but for weeks after, I returned there each dawn, just to hear her sing. Her voice made the stone seem less cold, less forgotten. The place felt tended, somehow, not by hand, but by presence, and that changed it. We didn't speak of such things, of course. A night wasn't meant to be moved by birdsong. But I was, and in that moment I realized that even the fiercest walls long to be softened, to be witnessed. Even silence wants company, and I've carried that robin's voice with me all these years, not because it was remarkable in and of itself, but because it happened quietly. It asked for nothing. It simply offered beauty and disappeared. Another moment, years later now, came on a winter night in the keep. I'd returned late from the wood line, boots soaked, fingers stiff with cold. I'd pushed myself too far that day, foolish pride, I suppose. I hadn't eaten, hadn't rested, and by the time I reached the hall, I could barely think. There was a child there, barely old enough to carry a bucket, let alone brave the kitchens alone. I knew her, the stable master's daughter, quiet thing, always watching, always listening. She saw me come in, said nothing, and vanished down the stone corridor. I sat near the fire, head heavy, half lulled by the warmth, and then, there she was again, with a small clay bowl clutched between mittened hands. Soup. It wasn't much, thin broth, a few root vegetables, a little thyme. I remember that moment, like a painting. The weight of the bowl, the steam rising, the way she looked up at me, not as a knight, not as anything grand, just as someone who needed tending. And I nearly wept. Not for pain, but for the simple fact of being cared for. gently, quietly, without asking. It was the first time in a long while I'd allowed myself to feel tired. And in that soup, there was permission. You see, my friend, we spend so much of our lives carrying others, leading, shielding, enduring. It's easy to forget how much meaning there is in the moments when someone meets us there and offers warmth. I think of that child more often than I think of the lords I served, more often than the battles I fought, or the banners I bore. Her bowl of soup, trembling in the cold, that was grace in its purest form. And then there is the castle itself. Some nights, not many, but enough, I walk the old road up the hill, just until the trees begin to thin, and the shape of the stone towers starts to rise between the branches. I do not go closer. I do not knock. I have no need. But I touch the outer gate. I press my hand to its worn, lichen-dusted face, and I say only this: I remember you, not in anger, not in sorrow, but with a kind of reverence. That castle held a chapter of me, one I no longer live in, but do not wish to forget. It was where I learned who I wasn't, before I could begin to understand who I am. And there's a beauty in that, in remembering gently, without reopening every door, without needing to justify the leaving. Some places shape us, and then they let us go. I once thought legacy was something forged in stone, carved names, written records, honored titles. But now I see it's something far humbler. It's the softness you leave in another's memory, the kindness that returns to someone's mind on a cold night. Like now, you, here beside me, listening, not out of obligation, but presence. You've made this night into something I'll carry forward. The way your breath matches the rhythm of the rain, the way you haven't asked me to explain, to prove, to recount anything more than what my heart remembers. These aren't grand tales. I know that. They won't stir armies or inspire anthems. But they matter. They are the threads that hold the soul together. The robin in the tower, the soup in the bowl, the touch of a hand to old stone. I found more peace in these small discoveries than I ever did in medals or marble. And when the wind grows cold, when the forest grows still, I wrap myself in them like a cloak. And perhaps one day when you find yourself walking alone beneath a gray sky or beside a forgotten wall, you'll remember these stories, or not the stories even, just the feeling that peace can come quietly, that it can be shaped moment by moment by choosing gentleness, that you too have been someone's robin, someone's warmth, someone's silence kept. Now then, lie back a little more. The fire has softened, and the rain has steadied. I think even the wind has found something to listen to. We'll stay here, you and I, just a while longer, and let the small stories rise, like smoke, into the waiting dark. The fire has grown quiet now, its flames folding softly into glowing embers, like the slow closing of a weary eye. There is a gentle warmth still humming in the air, subtle, steady, enough to chase away the chill the rain left on our skin, but never so fierce as to hurry us from our peace. It is in these quiet moments that the mind drifts most freely, and I find myself thinking of the rain, its steady presence woven through all the days of my life. Rain has been with me since my earliest memories, long before I bore sword or shield. It has fallen over the fields where I learned to walk, whispered through the tall grass beneath my feet. It has soaked into the earth during nights when the stars hid behind thick clouds, offering a soft rhythm to fall asleep by. There is something sacred about rain, don't you think? A kind of steady blessing, unassuming yet enduring, wrapping the world in a gentle hush. Through battles and blessings alike, the rain has been my quiet companion. It has washed the dust from worn armor and cooled fevered brows. It has carried away sorrow and sometimes brought it to the surface too, each drop a mirror reflecting all that is fleeting and all that is constant. I often wonder if the rain remembers the faces it has touched, the hands it has kissed, the silent prayers whispered beneath its fall. Perhaps it does. Perhaps it carries these memories like a slow river winding through the hills of time. Now think of oaths too. Those ancient promises spoken with weight and ceremony, echoing beneath vaulted stone and carried on the wind. Some are loud, shouted into the sky, bound by the clang of steel and the gaze of countless witnesses. But others are quieter, so quiet that only the heart hears them. They are kept not by sword or shield, but by daily tending, by presence and care, by the gentle refusal to forget. Here, in this humble shelter, I have found more honor than in all the banners I ever stood beneath. There is a sacredness in tending this fire, in knowing that its warmth shelters us both from the storm. There is a grace in making a home out of simple wood and kindness, something lasting not because it is grand or mighty, but because it is gentle and true. Some sanctuaries, my friend, are made of such things. Not the towering walls of castles or the gleaming steel of armies, but the quiet spaces where souls may rest. A hearth that welcomes without judgment. A voice that speaks softly in the dark. A hand held not to command, but to comfort. And as the rain continues its song beyond these walls, soft, steady, unhurried, I invite you to lean into this peace. Let your breath match the rhythm of the falling drops. Let your heart be soothed by the warmth that surrounds us. In these moments we are free from expectation, free from the burdens we carry by day. Here there is only rest, only presence, only the slow unfolding of night. I am grateful, dear friend, for your company in this stillness. Together we tend the fire and listen to the rain. Together we keep watch over this sanctuary made not of stone or steel, but of wood, warmth, and quiet kindness. And in this shared silence, I find a deep and lasting honor, one that outshines any battle won or banner raised. So let us sit here a little longer, breathing in the gentle night. Let the rain sing its lullaby, and the fire whisper its stories. Know that you are safe, you are seen, and you are deeply welcome in this quiet sanctuary of the heart. The rain's voice has softened now, my friend. It no longer drums or hisses against the wooden roof, but taps with a gentle insistence like a whispered reminder from the sky that all things, even storms, must find their rest. You might notice the difference, as I do, in how the air feels lighter, as if the earth itself has exhaled a slow, contented breath. I shift here beside you, leaning back against the worn planks of this humble shelter. The wood is cool, worn smooth by years of storms and sunshine, and it holds the quiet weight of many nights like this. The fire before us glows low now, its flames folding softly into a pool of golden embers. That warm light wraps around us like a familiar cloak, tender and steady. You are warm now. I can see it in the way your breath steadies, in the slow easing of your shoulders. The chill of the rain has given way to the hearth's embrace, and I wonder if your thoughts have grown softer too. There's no need to rush away from this calm, no need to carry burdens here. Let yourself be held by this moment, by this shared quiet. And I see it too, the drowsiness in your eyes, the way they grow heavy but linger still, on the flicker of the firelight. That's good, so good. It means your spirit is making room for rest, for peace. You need not stay awake, not for my sake. The storm outside will keep its own watch tonight, and I will keep mine beside it. There is a sacredness in that, two sentinels watching together in the dark, not to guard against danger, but to honor the slow unfolding of night. The shelter is small and simple, but in it we have made a sanctuary, one built not of stone or sword, but of presence and kindness. And in this space, the world feels safe, for now. You might feel the quiet pulling you towards sleep, a gentle tide drawing you beneath soft waves of shadow and warmth. I invite you to give in to it, to let go of the day's worries and the endless thoughts that crowd the mind. Breathe deeply with me, in and out, slow and even. Feel the rhythm of the fire's glow and the rain's fading song. They are lullabies, ancient and true. As you rest, know that you are not alone. I am here, your companion in this peaceful vigil. My breath matches the calm around us, slow and steady. The wood beneath my hand is rough, grounding me in this quiet moment, reminding me that stillness is its own kind of strength. Outside, the storm may yet linger a while longer, but here beneath this shelter, wrapped in the warmth of firelight and friendship, there is only softness, only the hush of night's gentle breath. Let it cradle you until your eyes close fully, until the world slips away and dreams find you. And when you do drift off, know this: the world remains safe, for as long as there are hearts willing to keep watch. Even in stillness, even in silence, the night holds no threat. Only rest, only the promise of dawn. Sleep well, dear friend. I will be here beside you until the storm song quiets to a whisper and the first light touches the trees. Now, my dear friend, as the fire dwindles to its last glowing embers, I find myself wanting to say something quietly, just for you. Thank you for sitting here beside me in this simple shelter, through the storm and the silence. There is a certain magic in shared moments like these, a warmth not born of flame alone, but of companionship. This night, with its soft rains and gentle shadows, feels somehow fuller, somehow kinder, because you are here. It is often said that the darkest hours are best faced alone, but I have come to believe otherwise. Some nights ask for a witness, a heart to lean into the quiet, a friend to simply be present without words or hurry. And so I am grateful you chose to share this one with me. The storm outside may still hum its ancient lullaby, but here, between these wooden beams and fading light, there is only peace. Listen closely, if you will. The rain still sings, though more softly now, like a whispered blessing upon the earth. Its rhythm is steady, soothing, a gentle pulse beneath the hush of night. Let it cradle your thoughts, my friend, and carry you gently toward rest. Close your eyes when you feel ready. There is no need to hold on to wakefulness longer than your spirit desires. The fire's glow flickers low, casting playful shadows that dance across these familiar walls. Each crackle is a gentle farewell, a soft note in our shared symphony of quiet. Imagine, if you will, that these last sparks carry stories of days long past, of laughter and tears, of moments tucked away like treasures in the folds of time. Let them settle with you, a warm embrace for your dreams to find. I will keep watch just a little longer, not out of duty, but from a place of calm devotion. Watching the rain, listening to its song, I am reminded that even the storm must rest, and in that rest find renewal, and so shall we. Together, in this sanctuary woven of wood, firelight, and gentle presence, Sleep well, dear heart. Let the rain be your lullaby, and the night your guardian. When dawn finally comes, it will find you refreshed and cradled in quiet strength. Until then, may your dreams be soft, your breathing slow, and your heart light. Thank you once more for staying. This night, it truly is better shared.